This is a demo that's like 15 years old. It's him, John B, and this other cat named Silky. And he sent it to me. I'm like, man, this is incredible music. It's never come out. No one's ever heard of it. I said, I gotta play it. I gotta do it. Beautiful stuff. And he doesn't have a website, so I can't send you to it to get it. It's incredible, though. We got about 12, what do we got, 15, 16 tracks of this. Beautiful stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the So What Morning Show has returned to T Radio V. That's Radio NTV. The number to dial or participate is 855-878-4652. But as is common, you know I have to support. Hey, let it ride in the background. Let that just float right there. I have to support black businesses. So let's start. No. Let's start with this. The So What Morning Show and Relationship Dismount Book Tour. We're only at 16%, and we only have 4 days left in this campaign. I am urging everybody who supports me, everybody who finds edification in the work that we do here, everybody who finds motivation, inspiration, and upliftment in the work that we do here, I'm asking that everybody within the sound of my voice donate $10. Go to Indiegogo, So What Morning Show and Relationship Dismount Book Tour, and I'm just going to tell you right now, this money that we've raised to this point will manufacture the book, right? It will put the book out. And I'm going to try my best to do at least one city off of what we were able to raise. We're well short of our goal. I think I might do Houston. I might go to Houston, Texas, right? And anybody that's close to Houston, Texas, just come support. And we're going to do like a relationship roundtable. It'll be free. We have some people who support the show. A sister who's in Houston, her name is Andrea. She was telling me that she can get us a venue, a location. She donated $25 to the So What Morning Show and Relationship Dismount Book Tour. And I'm going to reconnect with her, and I'm going to come down to Houston. And I think we should just get together and really, work out this relationship issue that most people have. I mean, it's going to be crazy. So I appreciate everybody who has donated. To date, 248 people in a month's time have donated to this, and I'm just going to say thank you so much, and I appreciate you all for doing that. I want to support this other sister. She is an artist, an Olympian, and a speaker. Her name is Siobhan Stoddard, right? She's an incredible athlete, but she's a musician. She's an artist. We played her video a couple of weeks ago, and the song is called Hot Girl. I want you to go buy it. I want you to support it. And it's not just because she's beautiful. It's not just because, she's this Olympian. It's because we need to support all that we represent. She's an Olympian, and what that means is they need to raise money for, their Olympic campaigns. So she has a song offering called Hot Girl. And I want you guys to go buy it, man. I want you to support it, man. It's really important that you do that. Support Siobhan Stoddard. You can go to www.siobhanstoddard.com. Siobhan is SHEVONSTODDART.com. Siobhan, SHEVONSTODDART.com. Go to our website, support her, buy her music, help her get to the Olympics again. I appreciate that. Also, somebody sent me a book in the mail. I want to support everybody, black businesses. Barry Aruke, MD, Next Level Weight Loss 2.0. Now, I'm assuming that you can get this on Amazon.com. I'm assuming that you can... I wish we can get a close-up on this, brother. Right? I'm assuming that you can, Google this guy or Amazon or iTunes this book. Right? Next Level Weight Loss 2.0. It's a brother Using the power of technology to transform your mindset, diet, and lifestyle to achieve weight loss success. Please continue to support black business. Also, Weed Juice is in the building. My brother Hassan Kareem McCullough. There is a $5 juice special. Go to weedjuice.com. That's OUI juice.com. Please continue to support this brother and his movement as well. It's very important that you do so. Also, Real Men Don't Play. Bobby Glanton Smith. Real Men Don't Play. Please order his book right now. Very important that you do that. Also, so many people have been hitting me about Enagic and the Kangen water. Change your water, change your life. Bobby is the guy. Please get at Bobby, which is, I think his email is Bobby at realmendon'tplay.com. Please support Bobby and his Kangen water movement. I drink it. Bobby bought me a bottle. I left it at home, and Bobby's disappointed about that. But he bought me a bottle, little carry-on bottle. It's pretty cool. You keep filling it up with water. I filled mine up with water and left it at home. Please support Bobby's water. My son drinks it. You know, I drink it. It's good for you, in my opinion. I've had nothing but good effects from it. So if you're interested in the water, go support Bobby that's Bobby at realmendon'tplay.com. Also, just listen. You can get this all over the world. You just Google Dr. G. He's a G. Go ahead and Google him. It all comes through. Dr. G. Just listen. One of the best books I've ever read on communication and listening. Also, what do you know about us? We all matter, especially in light of the bullshit that's been going on. Black men just running, getting killed on video. Something's up. Tell me, something's up. Something's up. They trying to force people into something. Pay attention. This is a trivia game. African American edition. We all matter. What you know about us. Please go to the website. Google that. Right? That's the website. This right here, that's the website. WYKAU.com, I think. Google it. Support this brother. We got a lot of business to support. We have a lot of business to support. CD Baby, Balls to the Wall, Truth. You got to support Truth's album. Please continue to do that. Blackmastery.com. Veronica Conway. Go to blackmastery.com and support Veronica Conway. You got to get that download, that NLP program. You got to get that. ElephantNYC.com. Elephant NYC. Hey, you like polo? This is the same quality or better than polo, but it's made by black hands from a black brand. Please support that. Out of New York. Ramo Mart. I love this brother. He's a good brother. Please continue to support him. A lot of people are doing that. The guy who built my website, please support this brother. Easy Boy Web. If you have any website issues or any website desires, social media connectivity, this guy can do it. Please, please, please support. Arise Hospitality. The black, what is this? This is the black home office, right? This is the black Staples. Anything you can get from Staples, you can get from these brothers. Same shit, same distributors, different price. Brothers are getting it done. Please support black businesses. And I'm going to say it one more time. So What Morning Show and Relationship Dismount Book Tour. Listen, $5, $2, $1, $3. I'm just urging everybody to do the best they can to close this thing out as strong as possible. Go to Indiegogo.com and support my movement. I would appreciate it greatly. This book is incredible. I can't tell you how proud I am of this work. With that said, I'm taking off. When I come back, topics. Oh my God, man, the topic is going to be crazy today. Oh, one more time. Support my Olympian friend, ShavonStoddard.com. Go buy her record, Hot Girl. That's her new single. Put up the website one more time so they can see her. Please support it, all right? I'll be back in 2.2 seconds with the topic. Holla! So what?
Cheating 2.0. In a way, it's the dark side of eHarmony. Just as technology created new, more efficient ways to bring us together, those encounters don't necessarily end happily ever after. For a married man or woman, sparking up a flirtation with a stranger online or rekindling an old flame on Facebook can truly be playing with fire. How often do the emails or the photos end up as evidence in the divorce proceeding?
The emails come up almost in every divorce case that we have.
In a recent survey by the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyers, 81% of divorce lawyers reported an increase in the use of evidence collected from social networking sites.
Before, we'd have to hire a private investigator and go get the dirt on somebody. Now people post their own dirt on these sites.
And we're not just talking about the information people share publicly. Divorce lawyers get access to all the messages and chats, including some deleted items that a cheating spouse would prefer to keep secret.
Since so much of our communication is done electronically, we're really leaving a history or a trail of everything we've done electronically somewhere.
You're practically sending a postcard that anybody could read.
Yes, and that's in the old days we might find out about an affair through some letter that was sent or maybe a knock on the door, but now we have a basic running transcript of the entire relationship available online.
Tonight, a nationwide survey of divorce attorneys shows at least 20% of all divorces somehow involve Facebook, and 80% of those lawyers say they're seeing a spike in cases where Facebook is used to gather evidence. Diggs says with Facebook, that evidence can provide a very public revelation of an affair.
It's hurtful enough to clients to find out that their spouse has been cheating, but to see it at the same time all their friends are seeing it, that's really hard.
Even if the Facebook signs of an affair are not crystal clear, private investigators tell us Facebook still provides a treasure map to catch a cheater and the other man or woman. A Facebook page shows a name and a picture, but in some cases also where a person works, who their friends are, and what they're doing hour by hour.
To us, it's a valuable tool to use and helps us immensely. We immediately look up pictures, photographs that we don't know.
Investigator Kathy Griffin says Facebook is always her starting point. She's run K. Griff investigations for almost 2 decades. She says before Facebook, it was much tougher to track down who the other man or woman was. Now, she says, 99% of the time, that person is the cheater's friend on Facebook.
And then when you go into their photos, there tends to always be a photo of that particular friend that they just forgot to mention to the wife.
So the puzzle becomes clear with the key pieces on Facebook.
Why is a white guy like me co-hosting a black radio show? I think toxic relationships cause you to take poor care of yourself. If you can recognize danger, if you can pause, if you can take some breaths, refocus, and engage, you might be able to dodge a bullet that you're going to send or coming towards you. One of the things that men don't get is that often women need to vent first to clear their mind. So why is a white guy like me on a black radio show like this? Well, you're going to find out more because at 12:36 today, I'm going to have to excuse myself in about a little over an hour. I'm going to be on KBC 790 AM on the Dr. Drew Show, and we're going to talk about racism, talk about why a white guy like me is on a black radio show like this. Yeah. Also, I worked with the prosecution in the O.J. Simpson thing, so I'm all over the map, and I've trained FBI hostage negotiators. So I guess it's basically I can't make up my mind. But part of the reason I'm here is I think good people who are talented and who are marginalized deserve this shot, which gets us to finally to the title about social media. Social media helping relationships or hurting them. I think it's great that we're connected, but we're not connecting. And the reason for that is we've become adrenaline junkies. And we have what I call boredophobia, which means we can't stand to be bored. And the relating part of relationships is you actually have to pause enough to listen to what the other person's saying and pause to let them feel that you've related to it. In fact, for any of you who are trying to get people to invest money in you and you talk faster than other people think, you are triggering flashbacks of people who are hustlers. And so whenever someone is, you want to get money out of someone who's been burned before, whenever they tell you something, teach yourself to go, for 2 seconds after they talk, because if you come up with an answer, and this is what's happening in social media, is we tweet, we text, but we don't really connect. So we're wired, but we're not really connected. And a final thing, since I'm an MD shrink, and I would love to test this, but we probably couldn't get funding for it. Something that causes people to bond is a hormone called oxytocin. And oxytocin is what causes women to bond to their kids and whatever. And I would love to see if oxytocin has gone down in the world, which prevents war, by the way, also in favor of adrenaline and testosterone. Because I think when you look at a lot of women, they're learning the bad stuff from us, where winning is the only thing. As opposed to connecting. So that was all over the place, and I'm just trying to compete with my friend Geoff Brown, who's all over the place. So that was approaching a rant, and I've been accused of asking a question and answering a question. I'm going to try not to do that. So that's my mini rant relationship toolbox for today.
All right, so we're about to set up the topic for today. Is everybody ready?
Oh, yes.
Bobby, you got something to say before I set up the topic?
Yeah, it helps with the topic. I found that the advent of the internet, particularly Facebook, has allowed people who are socially challenged and never had to deal with human beings in real time to create this safe house. And that delusion has led to illusions that has created the problem that you get ready to deal with right now.
So with that said, today's topic are social networks ruining the future of intimate relationships, and examination of social networks and technology and their effect on how we relate. Tough topic. I'm going to run through some questions, then I'm going to throw it to the panel. As a matter of fact, let me just say right now, Veronica Conway is on the line. Veronica, when I come to you, please promote what it is that you're doing. I don't want to forget that. So let's just break this down real quick. True or false? Social medias / networks are more about sociology and psychology more than they are about technology. Are social medias designed to rewrite how we interface within society? This is going to be a tough one right here. Are cell phones the new blue pill that keeps you locked in the matrix? This is why you hear a lot of people on this particular subject saying, I've got to unplug. I got to turn off Facebook. I got to get off Facebook. I got to get off Instagram. I got to get off Snapchat. I got to get off Pinterest. I got to get off all of this shit and just decompress. I got to unplug. So is this the new blue pill? Your cell phone, is this the new blue pill? Great question. Is technology and social media networks ruining the quality of human interaction? Is social media killing our relationships? Is technology ruining our ability to read emotions? Remember we used to read a motherfucker? Old folks still can do it. Remember how you bring that dude in? Big Mama go, don't bring him back to here. Don't ever bring him back here.
You know the sound Big Mama hit you with, right?
What? Yeah, exactly.
That right there.
Right. You can't read through a text message like that. A lot of people are confused by text messages. That's why they got emojis, to convey emotions, right? To try to say, no, I'm telling you a joke. Don't take this literally. But this is how we choose to interface for the most part. People are not talking to each other. They're texting each other right now. Does our dependence and overall comfort levels on social media platforms cause us to inadvertently overshare? Right? I was watching something the other day that made me think about this topic very deeply. You know, I like to pull metaphors and examples from other walks of life and other aspects of life and try to tie shit in. I was watching some shit about rodent control, and I tied it in to technology. Tell me if I'm way off base here. But they were talking about the nastiness of mice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, horrible.
And they were saying that mice, like if you have mice in your home, these little motherfuckers run around your house, but they drag their balls and nuts just underneath them, leaving a trail of piss. Rat piss, just everywhere, right? And that made me think in terms of technology. There is a trail. I don't give a fuck if you delete it, that shit is with you forever. So there's like a cyber transcript of everything you do. Text messages are never deleted, even though you can delete them off your cell phone, even though you can clear your cell phone. Did you know that there's a device you can buy that you can plug into a cell phone and retrieve everything that was ever deleted from it? Everything. So I was like, that's like that little rat dragging his balls around, just a little trail of piss everywhere. Anything you do on social media can be tracked. Absolutely. And is tracked. And you'll see in some of these videos, lawyers, 80% of lawyers are saying, we used to have to go find this information, but it's there now, and most of it is incriminating. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever you're doing, the information is there. You can't get rid of it. So privacy is dead now. So can we talk about it in depth? Social media ruining our relationships. Geoff?
Actually, I was just giving you the same signal that my man.
I'm not watching him.
Oh, yeah, okay. Wow.
This motherfucker ain't got no power.
Is that 1 minute or is that one finger?
Yeah, that's.
Go ahead, Geoff.
I think that you just gotta be. Social media only works against you if you stupid enough to put up the shit you got to hide. If you that stupid, then that's what's supposed to happen.
Righteous.
But then again, I look at I'm an open book, okay? I like big butt interracial porn, in case you're checking. I think Whitey is evil when the revolution starts. My brother-in-law and Dr. G, those are the only people I can think of, white folks that I can think of that are safe.
So we need 2 white people like animals on the ark?
Right,
just 2 of you motherfuckers.
Just two. The rest of y'all, I ain't got no love for. I'm wide open, but I see fools all the time. I see them all the time, dude. And what's really funny is to watch. You can watch the progression of a relationship more with women than you do dudes, because women love to talk. Just met Mr. Right, blah, 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 blah. Then 2 weeks later, you know, a sister going through some things, need y'all to pray. Then 2 weeks after that, nigga, you ain't shit.
It's all on Instagram.
Yeah, then you're single again. So your sorry ass track record is out there if you put it out there. It's on you. I don't have any sympathy for anybody.
You know, years ago I was seeing a celebrity, and she was telling me how she couldn't stand that people just sort of stared at her. And I said, well, you know, it's part of your fame. I said, but what you have to realize is when people are looking at you, they don't think they're invading your privacy because they feel invisible next to you. And I think a lot of people feel invisible.
Wow.
And so they don't think they're intruding because they see you're a somebody and I'm just invisible, so I can just stare at you. But I think that's what's going on the internet. I think there's a lot of people that just feel invisible and will do anything to get visibility because there's something that hurts about feeling invisible.
So listen, we're about to take a quick break. When I come back, Veronica Conway is going to join the conversation, as well as Bobby Glanton Smith. Parting, I want to hit you with this question. When missing, which causes you the most stress and anxiety? Your spouse or your smartphone? We'll be back in 2.2 seconds. Holla!
Imagine starting a dating relationship and you find out the guy that you're involved with has 300 female friends. I mean, it creates a whole new brand of stress. You have all this competition that you might not have known about before, might not have existed before.
Getting a friend request from your ex will also cause trouble in paradise, as will finding revealing information or photos on your partner's wall. Dr. B says 15 or 20 years ago, it was much easier to keep things away from the new person you're dating. These days, not so much.
We weren't built this way. We weren't built to, think about the person we're dating having so many other social contacts and friends that might compete with us. We like that feeling of exclusivity, that we're the one that matters, first and foremost.
With the lack of physical interaction, social networking provides a false sense of security. Your new pen pal could be the man of your dreams or a creepy 50-year-old pedophile. Another common problem that is recurring in the internet is cyberbullying. It can lead to anxiety, depression, and even suicide. Also, once things are circulated on the internet, they may never disappear. Sometimes with the protection of anonymity, People take advantage of it to express their superiority towards their victim.
Who's listening to that voice every night?
Jesus. Who would you miss more?
Give it to me. I am liking it very much.
Squishies.
Oh, my God.
I'm just saying, who would you miss more? You know, a lost cell phone, which would give you a higher sense of anxiety. A lost cell phone with all your contacts. Or your missing spouse.
Oh, come on. Well,
wow.
Now that answer is different than it would have been 10 years ago.
What about a smart spouse?
Let me bring in Bobby G. Bobby, you're from another era.
Stone Age.
I see you struggling with your cell phone.
All the time.
Talk to us about how communication was different then as opposed to now.
Communication was 95% human contact, person to person. The secondary form of communication was the telephone, which immediately led to human contact. You used the phone to confirm a meeting, a gathering. You did not use the phone to live vicariously. It just didn't happen. And in the last 25 years, I've seen all of that just change to the point where people are literally afraid of human contact. And then there's a group of people that are glad that it's like that because they feel so insecure about dealing with humanity that they have created this other person on the internet. There's a couple of people that said some things to me via social media that I knew that they would never, ever consider saying to me, even if they thought they could beat me, they know it was going to be too much trouble to have to deal with me. Because they would definitely have to deal with me. If you call me this or that and say I ain't this and I ain't that,
you're going to have to see me.
Oh, my God. And as that, transitions into this conversation, a lot of people, as they just said in the video that ran a minute ago, people go into this internet thing actually believing they're dealing realistically with folks that they don't even know. Because people show pictures of themselves that are inaccurate, 20 years old, and then they'll form allegedly a relationship with somebody that they have never even talked to. It's just mind-boggling to me, man.
Wow. Listen, we've got a female voice on the show right now, Veronica Conway. Hey. And again, we're talking about social media and technology's effect on our interpersonal interaction. And is technology eroding that ability to truly connect with someone? And I have a serious question for you, Veronica. Can we all agree or disagree that women are a little colder today than they were back in the day? Just a little colder. I feel like technology contributes to that. And I'll tell you why. Because it isolates and insulates, and women need to talk to connect. And I think now their talking is filtered through this technology, and for some reason there's a disconnect between them and men. They're more independent, they don't need men as much, and technology might be the new boyfriend. Somebody got to speak to me about this. Veronica, are you on the line? Is Veronica on?
Hey, Veronica.
Hey, Veronica.
Veronica.
Can we? VC. I don't think we have her yet, but we'll work to get her right now. Chris, just call her back, see if we could grab her. And in the meantime...
you said something about, do you think women are colder now because of the internet? I think what's happening is a lot of women forever have always had to get a lot of details done. And what's happened is a lot of women, rightly or wrongly, don't feel they get a lot of cooperation sometimes from their kids or from the man in their life. And I think what happens is you pull people together and they compare notes and they say, why are we sitting around tolerating all this stuff and smiling? We're trying to get so much details done and nobody wants to cooperate with us. Our kids don't want to do their homework. Our boyfriend, our husband, it's tough to nail him down. And so I don't know if it's the internet so much as I think women often have the joyless task of dealing with a lot of the detail stuff that a lot of men don't want to deal with.
But don't women need face-to-face interaction, devoid of the cell phone, right? Just no technology, you and I talking, connecting. I think by the definition of technology, it gets in the way of that connectivity. And I think women may suffer more than men because of it.
I think women dig it. I think they dig it because, and I'm going to catch some heat for this.
They dig technology?
Yes, because in the words of Jack Nicholson in the movie As Good As It Gets, how do you write women so well? Well,
Wow.
I start with a man.
Then I take away reason and accountability. Wow.
You don't have the...
One of my favorite movies.
Yes. I'm going to go with a real stretch here. I think this is why, so especially black women, love gay men so much. Because they don't have to be vaginally accountable.
Vaginally?
Yeah.
You're stretching it now.
This dude right
No
here,
pun intended.
he don't want none. He's a perfect guy. He's a guy that'll sit here and talk to me. We can listen to show tunes and house music together. If you put that over the phone, I don't have to be as accountable with this thing. I don't have to sit in your face and actually the rest of whatever we're going to do is on the line by my behavior. It's less on the line if I use this thing. And I don't like it. I don't care. I can do it either way. I think the other thing that pisses me off with women is just in regular conversation. Understand that when you ask a woman a question, the first two answers will have nothing to do with what you said.
But wait a minute.
You have to wade through that. And if you're willing to wade through it.
But some women will say we're blaming them, but I would say technology has an adverse effect on men too.
Oh, of course.
Because if men were already less communicative, right, and cold and a little distant, imagine what technologies, right, what that would put on men.
Exponential.
We would get even more isolated, right? Because again, when we sign up to Twitter, we sign up and we create a profile, right? And this profile is an identity. And a lot of times people get lost in this identity. They create this insulated and isolated world that represents all of them and nobody else, right? Imagine the effects on a man who's already standoffish, who already lacks communicative skills, right? What happens then?
It's much easier to make changes to your avatar.
Bobby?
You know, one of the things that has come out of this, good or bad, is you're exposed to the contradiction between what people say they are about and what they really are about.
Come on.
Via Facebook and Twitter, because sometimes people will post pictures of women and knowing full well that as soon as they woman see that, they're going to get a phone call like, who is she? What's that about? And people will put up certain things on their board or their wall or whatever that speaks to something they feel very strongly about until you are confronted with it. Then they're like, oh man, I just put it up because somebody shared that with me. So if you follow the trail of information, you end up many times with a contradiction between who people purport they are and who they really are.
Also, how much of technology is... You know, the younger generation doesn't even do email because it's too slow. They do texting. And how much of technology is it kind of, come on, get to the point. Will you get to the point? I'm in a rush. And that just builds on each other.
A rush to where, Doc?
Well, it's like turbocharging a toddler's tricycle. I mean, they're in a rush going in circles.
That's a wreck, man. That's a wreck that's pending.
Yeah, that is.
You know, where the hell where you going?
Look at this guy.
Well, he's just tuned up because we're too slow. He was checking some text message.
Actually, I was checking something with regard to the show that now I'm not going to share with any of you bastards. So there you have it.
So what about the cheating element, right? Does it make it easier or does it make it more complicated to cheat?
It makes it suicidal.
Speak on it, Bobby.
Well, I mean, it's bad enough that you lying, and then you're going to give people a vehicle through which that they can track you. I mean, it's just, you said it again a minute ago, what could you be thinking? Now, you done said, look, it's me and you. And then she go to your Facebook page, and it's you and all of the history of your sexual life.
Oh, my God.
I mean, it's like, damn, man.
It ain't what you do, it's what you tell.
You just shit and fell back in it.
You just shit and fell back in it. We got Veronica Conway on the line right now. VC! And scene.
Oh, my God.
The technology over.
Oh, sweet Lord.
Do we have her or no? All right, well, you keep trying to get her, because she's texting me. I'm telling you, make sure we get her. We need her.
Sweet penis.
But you know, you mentioned in some of the, you didn't, but the statistics reveal that lawyers and detectives are using Facebook basically to do their job now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm astounded that people will watch this and still continue to practice that same behavior. What does that say about human nature?
Well, what we have to do is understand that privacy is dead now, right? It's dead. At the end of the day, the more advanced technology gets, right, that equates to the least or the lessening of privacy we have access to. It's really that simple. There's nothing you can put out there. There's nothing you can, once you lock in, a lot of people were afraid of this new iPhone because of that fingerprint recognition thing that's on it. Because now, all of a sudden, through technology, Apple has the largest fingerprint database outside of the FBI. Just because you want to lock your phone, right? So technology, as it grows, privacy shrinks. So what does that say about your relationships? What is yours to keep now?
Your integrity.
Right? Wow. But your business, you might keep your integrity, but you damn sure ain't going to keep your business.
But they one and the same, because if you live in, a righteous life, in other words, we're all flawed, we're going to make mistakes, but if it wasn't nothing malicious, you really ain't got nothing to worry about, man, unless you out here perpetrating.
But doesn't technology make it easier to fight dirty in relationships?
No, it just makes it easy for you to fight. And then you got an oxymoron. How can you have a relationship if you fight?
Well, Bobby, fighting is part and parcel for a relationship. Oh, yeah.
Or can be.
Well, no, it is.
That's a train wreck.
Even Doc will say a good relationship got to go through a few knockdown, drag-out arguments.
That's that bullshit right there.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I agree with what Doc is saying.
I can tell you.
Break that down, Doc.
No, the idea is you got to see people at their worst, because it's going to happen. And so the sooner you see someone at their worst and you can deal with it and get through it, then you have a chance. I was one of the world's experts about 25 years ago in helping divorced couples get back together again. It wasn't my idea, but divorced couples found me, and I said, "Why'd you get back to your ex?" They said, "Because I've seen them at their worst. And their worst wasn't as bad as something I have yet to discover with the new person I'm seeing. And after we broke up, I realized that they weren't all wrong, that I was pretty awful too, but I've seen them at their worst.
And look at your face.
That sounds like somebody getting comfortable with familiar bullshit.
No.
Here, to me, when you say, in my opinion, when you say, I need to see you at your worst, our worst is different. My worst has often involved helicopters and police tape.
Okay, Jeff. So you and
I keep that animal in the cage.
You and your inner devils. We'll deal with that when we come back.
In the meantime,
this is my homeboy right here.
Enjoy him stealing from Bob Marley.
This is not him stealing from Bob Marley. Let me tell you who this is. This is Jack Herrera.
That's a Bob Marley.
Bobby, can I rap it? This is Jack Herrera.
Stealing from Bob Marley.
Okay, cut Bobby's mic. This is Jack Herrera, featuring John B., Dominican, and Silk. This is 15 years old, never before release. Turn it up and let's go.
Narcissism epidemic says that narcissism is corrosive to society. Time ran a cover story on the lazy, entitled millennial generation. And it does seem that social media is at least partly to blame. It's estimated that 30% of photos taken by millennials are selfies, and in the UK, 17 million selfies are uploaded to social media every week. So with social media use on the rise, it only stands to reason that the observed rise in narcissism is related to our growing ability to indulge our narcissistic traits. But is this all bad? Is it possible that a rise in narcissism actually makes us better, more self-aware people? You may think that admiring yourself in a mirror is shallow and vain, but studies have shown that seeing your reflection reduces the incidence of cheating on tests. At workplaces, it's common for employees to contribute to an honesty box to pay for vital coffee supplies. In one experiment, when an image of a pair of eyes was placed above the box, contributions increased threefold. If we know we're being watched, we become more likely to behave honestly. And narcissism also correlates with traits we think of as positive. In addition to being more narcissistic, college students today are also more assertive, extroverted, and have more self-esteem than the average college students 30 years ago. Narcissism in the extreme is a problematic disorder, but for most people, a slight increase in narcissism brought on by social media may be a benefit. Being faced with ourselves makes us better people. It's not just about vanity. The ever-present media, the images of ourselves on Facebook and around us, are allowing us to see ourselves as we never have before.
So, technology as an incubator for narcissism. And we already know narcissism is anti-relationship, right? You get, me, when it's supposed to be us, right?
This.
Right, this is a difficult place to be. So, what about technology's effect on narcissism, like the development of it in relationship? It's almost like every person you meet is an only child.
Wow.
Right?
Go deeper with that one. Go deeper with that one.
Dude.
Mr. Zoe.
Right? I'm just saying, technology's effect, like, this is about me. Well, if you have multiple profiles in different platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all of this and that, it's about you. This is what I posted on my wall. This is my opinion. And I think it makes it difficult for a person to be able to see other people's perspectives. It's almost like visiting another profile is like visiting another world with a different set of social game rules altogether.
Do you think technology has caused us many people to suffer from what I call disappearing ink? Meaning that you put something up there and it starts to fade, and so you have to reinforce it, and you get caught up in this adrenaline thing. I haven't posted and such. Someone hasn't posted to me. Geez, I haven't received an email, text message. I'm older, and I suffer from some of that. Like if I go 12 hours and geez, I didn't get an email, something must be wrong with the internet, and I don't even know what I'm looking for. And I'm wondering if, especially younger people, there's that feeling that they have to keep that adrenaline high going. Because when they start to fade away, they start to feel, less important, less whatever. And do you think there's a huge...
Got to blow that balloon back up. Yeah,
that's exactly.
So we're going to try to get Veronica one more time. Veronica, you here?
Here, I am here.
Okay. Veronica, yes. Yeah, we've been struggling. I don't know if you've been following the show.
And you sound like you're drowning right now.
Have you been following us, what we've been talking about?
I have, yes.
Okay. So can you talk to me about technology's effect on a woman's, ability to communicate? How does it affect her? Because I know women like to communicate, and I can only imagine this isolating and insulating effect on a female. I already know. We talked about what it might do to a man. You as a woman, explain to me about what's happening and what's changing in the millennial woman.
Well, see, as a woman, if you're really going to be emanating any kind of feminine essence, if you're really going to be connecting and vibrating and, kind of running that goddess energy, then you have to be able to feel. To be able to be in your body, to be able to feel, you have to be connected with yourself. You have to be what's called associated with your experience. And the thing that technology does is it disassociates, pushes out your real time experience. So what I think that technology does is it cuts women off from their feeling nature, and it puts them into a place of it's like a proxy for control over their environment. But really, if a woman wants to be in her energy, in her vibration, manifesting, powerful, then she has to be feeling. And I don't think that you can feel with technology, just like she can't feel with a vibrator and a man can't feel with a blow-up doll because there's no energy in it.
Wow. Wow. That's big.
Hey, Veronica, quick question. Do you think that a lot of men in their mind, they go think, do, occasionally feel, and a lot of women go feel, do, and occasionally think, and so it's
wow.
No, and that there's a processing disconnect. What'd you say? No, because I think a lot of men, they think first, then they do. Occasionally they feel, but they stay in their mind. And women, you know, they feel first, they trust that, and then they do, and then occasionally you think. And I'm not saying one is worse or better, but do you think any of that is going on and might explain some of the disconnect we have?
It's a great question. What you're really experiencing with the average woman that's walking around today is not that she's actually having original feelings. She's having emotions, which are a leftover of unprocessed feelings. So it's right. So if she's constantly tripping, to put it that way, it's because she has unresolved emotions, which is different than feeling. If she was walking around actually feeling moment to moment, then she'd be far healthier, she'd be far saner, she'd be far more present, and she wouldn't be constantly going back and trying to work out with her man or with life or with people around her all this unresolved crap from the past. So most women are emotional, not feeling. It's two different things.
You know, that's really interesting. Because someone recently told me, they said, emotions are not an expression of feelings, they're an avoidance of feelings.
Say more.
No, and that a lot of times what people are doing is they're reacting as a way to avoid what they're feeling underneath. And what they're really feeling underneath is they're feeling hurt, they're feeling alone, they're feeling lonely, they're feeling misunderstood, and their emotional reactivity is a way to get away from it. And the same person said, for men, it's deeper for them to grasp, but their thinking is an escape from their feelings, because a lot of times they're trying to impress other people with what they think, because down deep they don't feel very impressive. And so if you can pause, and Veronica is the expert in this, if you can just pause and be aware of as deeply as you can of what's going on inside you in the outside world, it's amazing how you could be present everywhere you are in your life.
So, to go back to what Doc was saying a little earlier about seeing the ugly in your partner, and that being a positive potentially, if the two are mature enough to see that as a positive, that breakdown, you know, that breakdown as a conduit to a breakthrough.
Right.
I use this Malcolm X quote. Martin Luther King quote. He says, "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy."
Absolutely.
And I believe the same thing applies in intimate relationships. It's easy for us to be in love when shit is all good. But I believe that difficult moment is an opportunity to show us where we really stand with each other. So when Doc says knock down, drag out, fight, he's not talking about boxing. He's not talking about slap boxing. He's talking about, I vehemently disagree with you. You vehemently disagree with me. We're pissed at each other in a way that we haven't been before.
Okay.
How do we get back from here? How do I find a way to respect you when you say or think or do something that I think is disrespectful to my core?
You just hit the nail on the head. It's about a level of respect in that given situation that I have been devoid of in my past. Oh man, my mouth is fucking horrible. I actually told an ex this. You can tell me these ain't my kids. My dick is small and I can't screw. And when it's my turn, you gonna cry. Because my mouth is that bad. Now, I have to keep my respect with this person because I love this person, and I am not going to burn down my relationship because I'm pissed off. And once you get a person that realizes that and feels that same way, you can get anything resolved without the knockdown, drag out, other way of doing shit. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying run from what you feel, because you're not responsible for what you feel. You're responsible for what you say and do.
Round table. Round robin questions here, starting with Veronica. Veronica, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think is the average person's ability to communicate? Their communication IQ, so to speak.
Oh boy, I talk to a lot of people.
That's hilarious.
I'm making a point here, by the way.
Yeah, like five-ish.
5-ish, right? I'm going to go lower.
5.
I'm going to go lower. I'm going to say 3.
Ooh, get out of my head.
Average. 3.
The average person's a fucking idiot, so I'm going to go with 3.
Yeah.
2, 8,
Doc,
3.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd have to lean towards 3. On our show here, right here in the room, it's about 5, so we're a little ahead of the curve.
Wow, thank you for the compliment. That's very disrespectful, Doc, by the way. But the reason why I think that's important, because when you bring in the apparatus of technology, it's almost like giving a supercomputer to a lemur or a gibbon, right? Or a bonobo.
Well, it's turbocharging a toddler.
Right. Yeah. It's turbocharging a toddler. And then you put them in a relationship situation or environment. Remember, the relationship environment is designed to reflect back to you what you need to work on. So how the fuck do you communicate then? Right? How do you even learn what's wrong with you or what direction you need to go in?
That's right.
Bobby, what's your number on that? Bobby says a 2.
Yeah, he about right.
Man, oh man, it's Shevitz. Listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, the Zoe What Morning Show continues. Technology, relationships, its effect, and this is Jack Herrera. Turn this up real quick. I love this record. Yeah, you know you did.
Who produced my theme music?
You did.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I think social media is a wonderful device if you're smart enough and mentally high enough to stand outside and look in above it. I think one of the big points we're missing here is that social media as a device to either build or destroy relationships is secondary to its true choice, its true origin, which is to, like no other time in history, group like thoughts, like minds, and like habits so that when it comes time to control them, you know exactly who and where and what they are. You need to use social media the same way. If you're smart enough, people will tell you exactly who they are. In the words of my grandfather, if I'm putting together a 1,000-piece puzzle and 700 pieces make it a windmill, the other 300 ain't gonna make it a lighthouse. It's a windmill. When a person look at a person's social, you trying to get to know somebody and you become Facebook friends? Go back a year, 2 years, and read down and be smart enough to paint between the lines, and you'll see exactly who they are. Ladies, this super slick, super smooth 007 dude that keeps stealing your cooter does not exist. The only reason he has any control is because you have turned society's white noise up louder than your intuition, your God-given intuition. Your period is connected to the moon, for fuck's sake. Figure it out. Stop blaming what some motherfucker typed on why your panties are down by a strange bed again. That's on you. That's your choice. That's all I got. Oh, and guys, you're in the words of Miss Wallace, go on my Facebook page. I put something up there this morning. Geoff Brown. Go up there. You chose that bitch. is the name of her poem. You chose that bitch that didn't support your dreams. You chose that bitch that had 5 kids by 4 daddies already. You chose that bitch. Dude, stop blaming her. If her keeps showing up, nigga, it's you.
Okay. So, are you telling me the great rant, Geoff?
That was good.
Are you telling me that social networks and technology and all this stuff is the new tea leaves?
Yeah,
like you
can read them.
But I think that's part of the problem, because the messaging associated with texting and how we communicate is easily misinterpreted. Why is that?
Because the people who are interpreting are stupid.
So I'm saying.
Because everybody listens to something through a filter, and you don't know that you're using a filter. And so what happens is there's something which Zoe will kind of like. There's something called observational and confirmation bias. So observational bias means you're not even looking at something the way it is. You're looking at it through a filter, and then you are looking for reasons to confirm that the way you're looking at it is correct.
Ooh. Go ahead.
Okay.
Bobby, you gonna talk, or you done today?
I thank the sweet Lord for my filter. My filter. People, judge not, that ye may be judged. The root word of judgment is judge. Okay, I am happy that I have my filter. However, I question it constantly. And the parts of it that don't fit have to go. And every now and then, as I get a little older, I find less and less of those. But you are supposed to look at shit through a filter. That's why certain folks can babysit my kids and certain folks can't.
Geoff, there's something called subjective and objective. Right? Subjective can easily be connected to another word called sophistry.
Okay.
Sophistry meaning what I think is the only shit that matters from a subjective perspective. And I think objectivity is something that every relationship needs from both partners, so they could see a situation clearly without their filter. See it as it is, not as they would like it to be.
You know, I don't think it's the filter that matters. I think it's the values that inform the filter. So, for instance, so like my values, part of the reason that I'm on this show is I love helping talented people who don't yet have their shot at what everyone else has, have their shot. That's my values. And so when I look at things, I look for people that deserve that, because I just think it's wrong for people to not get the shot in life if they work hard and they're talented. So that's my filter, and I'm looking for that, and I'm also looking for reasons where that's taken away from people unfairly, and I stand up for that.
And to speak to that, the doc will always send new talent to me. Whether it's a coach, whether it's a young guy just got here in LA trying to do something, whether it's a rapper, he's just sent us a rapper today. I'm like,
I'm sorry.
You trying to be an A&R? Jesus. But let me get back to a point, because I want to ask Bobby, and then I want to ask Veronica this. Bobby, do you think the way men communicate with women today, as opposed to how they communicated in your day, is drastically different? Do you think men talk more today or less today? Do you think it's easier for men to communicate and interface with women today or back in your day?
It's easier now. The problem is, can you deal with the consequences? Because, a lot of times women say they want to know how you feel, and if you dare to tell them, because we used to just clam up. We used to just not say anything to keep peace. Now we live in a society where everybody's basically able to say what they want to say, as long as you can deal with the consequences. And the problem that social media has created is the consequences of that.
Really?
I could ask Veronica.
No, he's saying something big. I want to go deeper, and then we'll go to Veronica. Could you write that down, Doc? Because I will get to it. I promise you.
It was a build on what he said. So
go ahead. Build on it, and then we'll get to Veronica.
Because what he was saying, if when a woman says, "Tell me what you feel," then the woman.
No, that's not what I was saying, Doc.
No.
You said, "Tell me what you feel." I don't talk like that.
No. I'm saying when a woman says she wants to know that, she better be able to deal with the consequences of it. And the point I wanted to get at, that I want you all to jump in, is I think what the woman's saying is, tell me what I feel is right. So a lot of times the woman is looking at you. Something ain't right, and so what you're saying is, if you do something that that is true to you, but is not in sync with her, there's going to be hell to pay.
In the words of Bill Cosby, if I may, this is not a popular time to quote him, but
sure, fuck it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
That's exactly what he did.
Bill Cosby said,
wow.
He said, when a woman asks you for her opinion, that's not what she wants. She wants to hear her opinion in your voice.
And that she's right.
Yeah, she don't want to hear your opinion. She want to hear her opinion come out of you.
Veronica, do you believe this bullshit? Speak on it.
No,
Exactly.
You sound like
I feel you, because I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying that there's enough of them for that to ring true, with enough dudes to go, I don't know if I want to touch that. Fuck that. I'm knocking the shit out of 50. I wish the hell I would not speak my mind. For what? I'm going to speak my mind, damn it. You may not like it, you shouldn't ask. Don't like my apples, don't shake my fucking tree. I'm going to say what's on my mind, and I don't...
Veronica?
Go on, Veronica.
Yeah, well, Louis C.K., the comedian, did a really good spot a while back, a few months back, on a national show, and he talked about how when young kids, one of the ways that they get disconnected is through technology, and that, in the era of leaving comments on websites, and there's so much disconnection. So what's true is that human interaction is fundamentally messy. If it's real interaction, it's emotional, it's sexual, it's got tension built into it, it's got disagreement built into it. Human connection is actually messy. And I think that the thing that has happened is that we've gotten removed from that messiness, and then we lose the coping skills to be able to engage, to go in deeper and engage in the messiness. Because it's only by going deeper and engaging with the messiness do you get to any kind of resolution or clarity.
Absolutely.
Wow. And that goes back to the moment of truth manifests itself through the conduit of conflict. And most people do not want to go into the mess to get what is inherently a part of the mess, which is the cleanup. Cleanup is part of the mess. Krishnamurti said, for every problem, there is an inbuilt, inherent solution to it. And you can't find the solution to the problem outside of the problem. Most people don't want to go that deep. They look at relationship as a haven for their weaknesses, as opposed to the therapy needed to unravel them. Right? Most people don't see it that way. And that's why relationships break down and we get to this kind of cut and dry, I'll delete this profile or this relationship. Right? A relationship now is as simple as a profile in terms of ending it. I'll just delete this because I don't want to have to deal with the mess that is inherently associated with it. Bobby said something that was big. Placation. Men placating back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day, yeah.
Right? So now, today, doesn't technology, especially if you can hide behind a picture, right? Or you can hide behind your old self 15 years ago, right? It gives you this newfound audacity. Like, well, fuck you. I'm going to say how I feel. Chances are I'll never meet you. So you'll be looking at me as an 18-year-old when I graduated 32 years ago, and you might think that that's me today. A new kind of false truth is emerging through technology. Bobby?
Well, Facebook is about friending somebody, and that's when things start falling apart. How can you be friends with somebody you've not had a common experience with?
Wow.
And that contradiction just ultimately leads to disappointment that you created in the beginning because you didn't have a common language. How you gonna call somebody a friend and they have not experienced any of the trials and tribulations of your life? Right. You're talking to somebody with a false construct already when you say that we're friends. How in the hell are we friends?
Ooh.
I don't even know where you live at for real. Because sometimes when you go through a person's profile, they say that they calling from here, or they They speaking from there, and then you find out that ain't where they live at.
Down the street.
You know? And it's really very problematic for me.
You saying something huge, Bobby. A sister reached out to me yesterday, and I coached her for about 2 hours. And Bobby said something so fucking big right now. I coached her for 2 hours, talking to her about the current guy she's seeing. She was like, I found Zoe Williams, my God. I got a bunch of questions. I said, listen, I'm going to send you my number. Call me. Because I can't answer your questions over Instagram typing. I'm not that, you understand? I need to talk to you to understand. Again, conversation is one of the things social media is killing. This dependence on likes and all this bullshit. We're not really conversing. I was like, no, call me and let me deal with your issue. Because I can't, in a sterile fashion, give you all the subtlety and nuance that my text might miss.
Did you charge her 99 cents a minute?
I should have, but she was a young lady, good girl. I appreciate you guys. Dr. G has to go. You know, we have to mention when Dr. G has to leave, or the internet goes crazy.
Yeah.
You know, he couldn't handle it. He had to leave. He was mad. He was angry.
No, he's not. All of those.
He has business to take
And
care
he's a
of.
hustler.
Where are you going, Doc, real quick?
Well, I'm going in the other room, but I'm going to be on KBC 790 AM with Dr. Drew talking about racism and talking about all these shootings. And here's what I'm going to talk about is underneath all racism is fear. And so what is it that white people are so afraid of in blacks? And the reality is, if you talk to most blacks and they open up with you, blacks are more afraid of whites than they're angry at them. Blacks are more afraid of whites than they are angry at them.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. We'll be taking a break. We'll be back in 2.2 seconds.
And like I'm watching the Oscars and I want to like tweet about Seth MacFarlane or how he did a great job or a horrendous job. I know
or somebody's dress or whatever.
And guess what? I missed out on half the Oscars because I'm too busy tweeting about the Oscars. Like that's another thing. It's like
wonder if we're having less sex because of social media.
I know I'm not getting any. So.
You think is that coming next? The new study? Why don't you commission that study?
Charlotte, why don't you give us your Twitter handle then, and maybe we can change that.
It's at Charlotte Athan, but I'm not fascinating and I barely tweet because I'm thinking, who wants to hear anything I have to say? And sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go on Twitter because I don't care what you have to say.
No, I follow you because you get real snarky at times. I can tell when you're in a bad mood.
I do. Yes, I do get very snarky because I hate everything.
Well, that's fair.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Thank you, Charlotte.
This is a new phenomenon that I call men marrying up but cheating down. Men are getting into these relationships with very powerful women, then they feel emasculated, and both of them are very, very busy in their schedule. They don't have enough time for each other, and then the man feels like, oh, I'm underappreciated, or I'm not getting enough attention, oh, and I'm not getting enough sex, and he turns to a woman that's submissive over whom he can lord it and control.
So is it always driven by, the sexual desire you're talking about?
Well, I think if you're a rock star, an athlete, yeah, you view women like a buffet and you just, you serve yourself to feed your sexual hunger, your sexual appetite, and your narcissism. But really, this is more about men, powerful men, feeling powerless in their personal relationship and turning to other submissive women who look up to them, admire them and worship them to try and fulfill their needs.
Okay, Patrick, try and explain, if you will, how men feel loved in a different way to women. Is this like a scientific fact?
Well, let me say this. There's no right or wrong, but this is the way it is. Men feel loved when they feel acknowledged, appreciated, and when they receive sex. I know you don't want to hear that, but that's the way it is. Women, on the other hand, feel loved when they get all their emotional needs met. You've got to create a safe place for them, to allow them to express themselves. You've got to give them praise, support, encouragement, provide, protect, and emotional nurturing as well. So men's egos are fragile, but women are much more complex. It's not right or wrong, Larry or Kylie, it's just the way.
Virtual connections appear to be replacing physical intimacy. Appear. And when I look at a video like that, how is a man supposed to be, and all you brothers out there, you could tweet me at Zoe Williams, I want to hear your opinion on this. How many times have you been with your woman and she's been on her phone? Ladies, how many times have you been with your guy and he's been on his phone? And what he's on, social media, right? Facebook, Twitter. And I mean, you guys are at the movies, or you guys are at dinner, or you guys are right? They say both men and women, both genders need attention and respect. But how do you do that when you're together and the technology is kind of the bridge between you? I'm talking about when you're together. Now, it makes sense if he's on a business trip or she's on a business trip and y'all Skyping to stay connected. But what about when you're together and the devices are out?
I'm going to pretend to talk. I'm going to pretend like you're not here, even as I talk to you, Zoe. What you just said has no bearing on cats like us, and I tell you why.
Speak on it.
Because we're hustlers, okay? I use Facebook. I have almost 5,000 friends, but I'm a comedian. I'm booking dates. I'm handling business on the phone. My wife is also a hustler. Unless we make the conscious choice to go phones off, I'm not mad at my wife. She getting money. I'm getting money. This is a date. I got somewhere to be. I got something to do. Most people aren't using social media like that. A lot of this is these motherfuckers that work at the post office.
Want to see what their ex-girlfriend from high school look like.
There you go, trying to figure out what that girl in high school looked like, which is why this dude that was just on here talking this bullshit about men, I'm so tired of beta and Charlie males trying to speak for us all. Trying to speak for you. Don't speak for alpha males when you say that the chief reason that they have another woman is to feed. Blah. No. Okay, there's only one reason to cheat. It's because you have low integrity. There's no other reason. There's no other reason. I can't name a second, and it goes back to low integrity.
Wow. Bobby?
Well, as Geoff was speaking, I find that I agree with what he said about how some people use technology to advance bigger objectives, and other people use it because that's their life.
Right.
It doesn't matter if they got a job or not. They look forward to interaction with people because they don't have any friends. They don't have any real human relationships. And it has gotten so bad that people will wake up and they're 35 years old and they can remember the last time they've actually been in a social environment other than in a purely innocuous way. In other words, they went to a bar.
Right.
They didn't stay long because they were scared as hell of what goes on in a bar.
Right.
Only way you're going to have any fun is if you can go over and say hi to somebody you don't know.
Wow.
And they do not possess that skill. So they go back into that little old cocoon that we call cyberspace. And that's where they conduct their sense of reality. And it's really unfortunate, man, that so many people are living in these cyber cocoons is the best way I could describe it.
And Bobby, Bobby telling the whole motherfucking truth. He ain't leave you from the rooter to the tutor. He ain't left nothing out. You know, even when it comes to recruiting these young kids for sports, now the coaches are looking for kids that are a little bit detached from social media for their leadership skills.
Yeah.
Because you can't lead via the phone, via the cell phone, right? So they're now looking, I want to see if this kid looks me in my eye and shakes my hand and talks to me like a man. I want to see if every time his phone buzzes, if he goes for it, right? They want to see a kid who somewhat distanced himself from this technology because they feel like they can build on a leader when one is a little bit more disconnected from this appendage now. You see, Bobby speaks on some real shit today, and it's important because if you're going to lead, whether it's football, say you're a quarterback, or whether it's basketball, point guard, you got to be able to communicate, right? You got to be aware of what's happening on the floor and be able to say, okay, man, I'm going to come back to you, all right? That was a good shot. Look, some of these kids don't even know how to do that, right?
And keep morale.
Did you see that old video that was on YouTube? It's on YouTube, but it was circulating on Facebook. And they were talking about the greatest game ever played that nobody saw.
Oh, Jordan
versus Magic.
Yes.
Right? And what was it? The Dream Team practice. And Jordan said, God damn it, that was the best game he had ever played in his life.
Ever. Yeah.
And when you saw just a little 3-minute clip, you see Magic saying, fuck you, nigga.
Yeah.
I'm Magic Johnson.
I'm 6'9".
I'm 6'9". I know what this is, right? And Jordan is like, well, fuck you, nigga.
I'm 6'6".
I'm 6'6", but I fly.
Yeah.
Let me show you how this shit works. And they communicate. You see Magic talking to his players. Magic is like, I'm going to show you what this is. Magic is no-looking diamond niggas. But he's communicating. Nah, Clyde, don't let that nigga talk to you like that. Bust his ass. That's communication. And what's happening is because, and I'm using sports as a metaphor to say there's a lack of communication in the sport environment, which is paramount to the success of your team, which is paramount to chemistry building, which is paramount to just camaraderie. Now you got a leader, say, like Kobe. Isolated, insulated.
Wow.
He don't do a lot of talking. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's a different movement. And I'm not saying technology made Kobe what he is, but that's a perfect example of how when technology is your primary source of communication, you're subject to disconnect, you're subject to misinterpretation, you're subject to all types of shit that Doc was talking about, behavioral confirmation, misinterpreting what shit is saying, looking at things through filters. Bobby?
I think a lot of people are suffering from, for lack of a better phrase, intellectual atrophy. What I mean by that is people don't get an opportunity because they don't have any human contact to feel the complete circle of communication. Because so many of us communicate through body language. A lot of times you can be with people and you find out more about what they don't say than what they do say. Just by the reaction on their face when you say something heartfelt to them, if they appreciate it, it's almost like a vibe comes to you. And if they don't, you know that there's a separation. And you can look at somebody and say, hey, what, you didn't like what I just said?
Right, right.
But you can't pick that up on the internet. You can't pick that up texting. But you can see a person's body language. My uncle used to tell me if your shoes are too tight and you can't pull up on the lace, you ain't got to tell nobody. It's going to show on your face. But if I can't see you, you can get away with masking how you really feel.
Veronica?
It's eventually going to come out, though.
Yeah, there's another element to this, and that is the one of sort of sensory overwhelm and overload, because the brain can only filter and process so much before it begins to kind of shut down and tune out, right? And so when you think about how many marketing messages, how many social media messages, how much television, when you think about the escalation and the bombardment of messaging that people are having to experience that they're confronting every day, what happens to the brain is that it loses the ability to focus and discern what's most important, because it's in an onslaught of information and data. And oftentimes what we need to really navigate our lives effectively is a very narrow focus on a few things and a few people.
That's such a big point.
Well,
Jeff, Bobby, that is that narrow focus. Go ahead.
I get the part about the inundation with what I call minutia, and how you get around that is ask yourself a question: is this really relevant to my life? And that's why it's so important to have human contact, because then you either mirror the right behavior or you mirror the wrong behavior. So the decision-making process gets compromised if you taking in all of this stuff without asking yourself, do I even need all this bullshit?
Wow.
Because is it getting me closer to my goals and objectives, or is it confusing me? I think that's a conscious choice we need to ask ourselves before we allow all of this bullshit into this thing we call a mind and a brain and a body and a soul.
Bobby's on fire.
That is...
Shit, Bobby's on fire.
That is the sage, wise, old way to say the dumb shit I said earlier. He just checking his filter.
Veronica's on point too here now.
You keeping your filter. You got to have, like Veronica said, the bombardment of just messages everywhere, just the billboard signs, your phone, just this shit is coming at you, and you need a shit suit. You need a shit reflective suit to keep this shit out so that you can focus myopically. Now you have to. I focus myopically on my marriage, my children, my affairs, my goals. You didn't have to block out as much shit because there wasn't as much shit. Now, dude, if you just walk out without your shit suit on, you're going to come back covered in shit.
Wow. And remember this? Do you remember this? Before cell phones, we remembered motherfuckers' numbers.
Yeah.
I believe I believe it's fucking with our capacity to remember shit, to retain shit, because the brain works on synaptic neural firing, right? Those nerves, those synaptic fires, right? It fires, that's information, that electricity, that spark, the dendrites, all of that shit. And the more you learn and read and put into your brain, and the more you access it, the stronger the networks are. They're like grooves in your mind. You don't access that shit,
them grooves,
they go away. Your mind is like a muscle. So now, in your cell phone, it goes right to a person's picture and name, and you rarely see their number unless you go into the contacts to either update or edit the contact. So when they're calling, typically their number doesn't show. It's their picture and their face and their name, right? Dude, we don't remember nothing like we used to, and remembering is a linear process. Let me get this for short-term memory. Now let me get this piece for long-term memory. All of that in between is getting cut short through convenience. This is a cold. Wow. This is a cold situation. Am I bullshitting?
No. And the way out of this is, you know, if you know the why, you can figure out the how. And people need to ask themselves, am I really happy? Or am I just distracted with all these other things that people have convinced me that are important to me, that really, in the long run and the short run, are not that important to me?
Happy?
Because I go out my door every day looking for human interaction. I'm going to have a bad day if I don't meet somebody, you know, and have some kind of exchange. You know, it don't always have to be a positive.
You see, if you know Bobby, you understand that's who the fuck he is. We had a basketball game, and I introduced Bobby to the fucking academic advisor that's talking to my son, and Bobby is right on him. Like, in other words, I'm taking credit for introducing him, but I didn't introduce him. Bobby was already on him.
Right. Because it's of interest to me. I want to know who's in this kid's circle, because either he got some people that are trying to help him, or if I'm his father's friend and his friend, I'm either going to see how I can assist him or get the fuck out the way.
Yeah, and then take us to break.
Something that Uncle Bobby said, maybe y'all want to think about on the way back. There's a difference between happy and distracted from sadness.
Ooh, shit.
We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Wow. Slam dunk. We'll be back. Yee.
But personalization also contributes to our attachment. Our phones become repositories of our contacts, of our photos and messages, of our memories. They contain the record, a proof of love that we can go back to and reread. Because we use them to tell our stories, our phones become emblems of social life, not merely inert tools for enabling it.
And so often it's these handhelds and technology that's seen as the victim. Mobile phone addiction ruining relationships. 9 ways technology can ruin your relationship. Technology overload can ruin relationships. Expert. How texting can ruin relationships. Sure, higher Facebook use leads to more feelings of jealousy in relationships and Facebook-related conflict. But feelings aside, surely excessive bacon consumption would lead to more bacon-related conflict, and excessive Game of Thrones consumption would lead to more Game of Thrones-related conflict. In a recent study, only 10% of married or committed internet users say the internet's had a major impact on their relationship. 17% said it had a minor impact, and 74% said it had no real impact at all, or that the impact was positive. The internet and social media and smartphone and apps do change the way we communicate, but they don't ruin relationships. They're tools that enable your behavior, whether that's good or bad. It's not technology. It's you.
We're not so much addicted to our devices as we are to each other and the quantization of those interactions. And we've invented ways around the previous boundaries to social interaction, geography and time.
Every single day. There's a temptation if you're traveling on the road. There's a temptation if you are a pastor or a staff member and you're dealing with people in the church every single day. We know pastors who have had affairs with secretaries, with church members. And so the reality is there's temptation all around us in this world. But the whole point of people of faith, the question is, how do you deny temptation? When you look at the Bible, Jesus was tempted himself. And so you have to have something inside of you that says, I have made a commitment to be with somebody else, to be with this person. So regardless of whether or not I see them face to face, regardless if I see them on Facebook, on Twitter, Black Planet, whatever it is, I am going to say no. And so you can say it about anything, Kira.
Finally, 10 seconds or less if you can. Your wife's an ordained minister. You've written books on spirituality. If you stood in front of this congregation knowing that it had issues with Facebook and hooking up with old flames, what would you say?
What I would say is your issue is not Facebook. Your issue is you. Your issue is your particular lust. If you want to fortify your marriage, Facebook is not the issue. It's a question of between you and your spouse, what is happening inside of your home, what is happening inside of your temple, not on Facebook.
Reverend Martin, nice to have you on this.
Yeah.
You know what?
Footnote. He cheated.
Of course. Come on. The people try to marginalize the human condition and humanity and make it seem immoral. The bottom line is you should be disciplined enough. Give me a book that comes with being born.
The Bible.
Do you come with a manual?
I do. The King James Version of the Bible.
Right, and therein lies the problem.
The fuck out.
Right, therein lies the problem. Right, but and I'm not trying to attack Christianity. I'm just saying at the end of the day, when you're born, you're not born with a manual. Now, proof of that is, depending on where you're born, you get an automatic social religious manual that you don't have the choice of choosing. So you're born in Saudi Arabia, motherfucker, you Muslim.
Yeah.
And because you're born in Saudi Arabia, you're Sunnah. Right?
And if you're a woman.
Right? If you're born somewhere else in the Middle East, you might be Shia. If you're born in Iran, you're Shia. There's some Sunnis there, but for the most part, Sunnah or Shia in Iran. Or, you understand what I'm saying? You don't really have a choice for which narrative you're born into. So, discipline, listen, discipline is something that is understood on an individual level. Well, yeah, I can look at my dad and see an example of that, but you don't necessarily have to follow your dad or your mom, right? And depending on whatever unresolved issues they got going on, you inherit those to resolve for them sometimes. That's a whole nother situation right there. So to just be so casual and glib about, it's just about discipline, your temple and shut your self-righteous ass up. No disrespect, but be quiet sometimes, right? Everybody got their own little journey, right? Go ahead, Bob.
The actual number has changed because of all of this information, but we all, male and female, reach the age of enlightenment. And we know that point in our lives where it doesn't matter what somebody says is the law, we have already begun to govern ourselves by the principles that basically come down to right and wrong. Whether we openly admit that, I'll just use myself as an example. I know and have known for probably 45 years when I was doing what I knew was right and when I was doing what was expedient and when I knew what I was doing was wrong. And it's hard to separate the three because it's so easy to justify it. Mm-hmm. But you ain't fooling yourself. But you can go throughout your whole life giving the perception that you got it all together and that nothing is wrong in your world. But somewhere in your conscious self, you know when you have done things that were out of order.
Man, the biggest shit Bobby is on fucking fire right now, because I'm going to tell you.
He's going for 40.
You can't be a leader, in my opinion, until you personally and publicly claim your faults.
That's it.
To me. And this is the problem with relationship therapy. But again, you got motherfuckers saying, oh, that nigga ain't married. How can he talk about relationships? Motherfucker, you're born into relationships. Well, how do you understand that? Well, if you coach 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 married couples, tend to know something about what the fuck they're going through, right? Even if it's vicarious, even if it's outside of that, right? Well, you can't possibly know. Yeah, you can. So you get this imbalanced perspective of you got to be in it to know it. Well, to a degree, right? To a degree. If somebody spends their life studying intimate relationships, you might be able to learn something from them. You might. Well, you might. And then, but hear what I'm saying. Then it goes from that level to they need to be in a good one. You can learn a lot from a bum who lost a whole lot of money about money. Because he can tell you all the shit you shouldn't do. You can learn a lot about a nigga who got 4 divorces, right? And he can tell you how to fuck up a marriage. He might not tell you how to keep one going, but he can damn sure tell you what not to do.
And he's more inclined to share.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So we get this imbalanced. I can't listen to Dr. Phil because Dr. Phil has been in fucked up relationships. I would tend to go to Dr. Phil to say, what the fuck have you done wrong? Can you give us some of that?
You can get the hammer before you can get to Bill Gates.
Hammer
will tell you, this is don't be betting them fucking horses. Don't buy you no horse if you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Scottie Pippen. Hey, you know what? Don't buy no motherfucking private airplane.
Yeah,
shit.
Don't buy no airplane.
Don't do that shit, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So we got this lofty, almost beyond reproach kind of idea. Again, this is how you program a society. You put authorities in place, imbalanced authorities. In other words, Tiger Woods is not the golden child no more because he had marital shit, so now the corporations leave him alone, all of his sponsors go away. You have to be pristine in a country or in an environment.
No one is.
Right. No one is pristine. So this is why I don't sit well with this, self-righteous, sanctimonious, it's between you and discipline and God and stop it. Veronica, speak on it.
Yeah, well, it's funny because I know Roland Martin. He's a colleague of mine, but and he's a decent brother. I will say this though, and I've been under the hood with a lot of leaders and a lot of people that are leading movements out here in the world. Because I'm in a lot of intimate conversations with people about their real stuff. And the truth is that everyone, no matter what level of success they're at, no matter what level of challenge they're at, no matter where they are in their continuum and the ups and downs of their lives, everyone has fears, doubts, considerations, back of mind stuff. Everybody has their shit. And so the quicker that we can come to that and know that that's just the truth about humanity and about human beings, then the less we have the need for all of these rules, these supposed rules about how things are supposed to be. Humans are just messy situations.
Wow.
Until they're not.
Wow. Good stuff. Listen, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, final thought. Zoe Williams, voice of reason, and Zoe What Morning Show in the building. We are a society. Man, this was a really good show. There's a lot going on in society right now in terms of shootings, right? And technology is involved, right? There's video showing up for all of these killings that's been going on, right? It just seems to be perfectly placed and people are there to film it. And I feel like some of this is contrived. Lives matter. People are dying. But what better way to make you believe? Right? It's a game with real consequences, right? I feel like they want us to respond. I feel like a race war is being egged on via technology and the media. I believe that. 73-year-old guy. Oh, I thought I was going for my taser. Right? But it wasn't a taser. It was my handgun. And then after that, because have you noticed the police are behaving in a way that seems like these fucks, these goddamn civil Neanderthals, right, don't have TVs at home. These police are acting as if they haven't seen all the other killings that have been happening. So they're acting like they're in a vacuum. Fuck your breath. What? Right? Okay, so you have your body cam on and it's recording, and you know it, and you still say some random dumbass fuck your breath shit? To me, they trying to egg motherfuckers into something. They want martial law. I promise you, this is what's happening. The last show we did, we talked about population control. Okay, China, billion people, going close to 1.5 billion. Africa will be at 1 billion shortly. India, over 1 billion. The world is black, and population control is just another term for limiting melaninated people numbers, to me. The best way to do it, how do we just push these motherfuckers over the top so we can implement something? Right? What is just? They treat you like savages so they can treat you like savages. I got you. Thank you, Geoff. Again, listen, they know what they're doing. To me, technology is a mind limiter. When your smartphone is smarter than you, right? Because guess what? It's a conduit of information. But if you're not the author of the information that's being filtered through it, then even through your smartphone, you're being filtered lies. History is a set of lies agreed upon. History is a narrative. History is a story. So if I got you cultivating your story based off of information that I make available to you, you think you're making a choice. No, these are just Lego pieces to build your contrived story. Oh man, it's crazy. So history and social narratives are manicured to guide your thoughts as a means to keep you from thinking. Right? Regarding intimate relationships, social media networks are places that are to be visited and not lived in. Too many of us are living there together trying to make a good relationship work. And you can't. Because society is in your business, right? Every relationship has to have some level of privacy. There has to be some level of privacy, right? You got to be able to trust your partner. So if privacy is dead, then so is trust. Because now, if I don't trust you, I could just go look up on your social media to see what the fuck you're doing. I mean, we live in a cold world, man, and the only way to become something special in it is to reject a lot of the truths that have been shoveled by force into your being. You got to shut down from all of the shit that they say is true. Mark my words, really quickly. Hillary Clinton running for president. Do you not see the feminist machine getting built up right now? And they're going to build her story the same way they built Barack's story. It's a different narrative. It's a black man, but now there's going to be womanhood. Hear me roar. It's coming. Watch. Got to be more aware socially if we want to have any level of freedom in this society. With that said, that's my final thought. Really quickly, I want to promote AliciaMullins.com. She just sent me her fashion guide. It's a catalog online. Please go to her website, AliciaMullings.com, and she integrates our culture too. Like the Marcus Garvey jacket she sent me. Oh man, she has like beautiful dresses and jackets, and it's cultural. It's all fine, you know, high quality bespoke material. She's dope, and she's out of London. And like I said, I just want to continue to support people. I want to support. Also, today, man, we only got 3 days left. Only 3 days left for the So What Morning Show and Relationship Dismount Book Tour. For the 248 people who have already donated, I so appreciate you. 250 now. 2 people have donated. I need your help. Please support us. We've only got 72 hours left. Bobby, where can they find you?
At Glanton Smith on Twitter and www.realmendon'tplay.com. And I'd like to let everybody know on May the 13th at the Clive Davis Theater here in Los Angeles at the Grammy Museum, an evening with real men. For those of you who don't think Jerry West is real in my life, you don't think Jim Brown is real in my life, Sam Watson is real in my life, they're going to all be in the house. That's May the 13th.
You're done? Oh, well, welcome back. Where can we find you?
I was just speaking Dr. Drew, but go to Patreon, patreon.com, at drmarkgoulston.com. Help our movement, heal the world, one conversation at a time.
You know, you can find me on Facebook, Geoff Brown. Go to Geoff Brown's fan spot or to MIPTAGS, MIPTAGS.com to get my ringtones and my dates and all that crazy mess.
Veronica Conway, people got to get your blackmastery.com NLP program and other things that you're doing. Veronica, where can you be found?
You can hit me up at my website's veronicaconway.com. We're launching another money-making boot camp, y'all. So you can email me at veronicaconway.com. And Veronica Conway is sort of my all-over social media name. LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
Oh, again, go to ShavonStoddard.com. I think it's important that we support her. This is an Olympian. She's a sister. She represents the Jamaican team. Go to her website really quickly. Please support this young lady. She has a new record called Hot Girl. I mean, there's a video of it. If you YouTube it right now, you can see the video. You can see the song. She's performing it at I think it's a fashion show, and she really rips it. She tears the house down. Please continue to support all of the businesses that I support, because while we still have this monetary system, we should play the game of recycling of black dollars if we want to be able to build any type of infrastructure. Also, go to my CD Baby page and order the God Class Volume 1. It's a CD. Order that. You can, or it's a digital download. You can order it. I'd appreciate it if you do that. And one last time, So What Morning Show and Relationship Dismount Book Tour. We need your donations. We need your support. I think we'll be able to do one city. I was talking about doing Houston. So go to Indiegogo and support ZWMS and Relationship Dismount Book Tour. I'd appreciate it deeply. And I'll see all of you guys in a couple of hours over at Dash Radio. If you do not have the app, you've got to download the app. The app is free. Once you download the Dash Radio app, then go to Hot Button Radio. I'm there 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hot Button Radio. Download it right now and continue to support the Voice of Reason and So What platforms. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week with another heater. Appreciate you all. Thank you.